Following his chat with Tim Hutchins, Farah took questions from the media that were assembled here, and this is what follows. If you had not met that local PT teacher who guided you along, what would you have done?
Honestly, if I didn't meet that my PE teacher, Alan Wilkinson, in school, who saw me as how I was neglected as a child and well, a very destructive kid because I didn't know how to communicate with people. Didn't have him in my life. I think it would have been very hard to see myself, becoming very successful. And secondly, just become, just being able to survive because I was struggling, and I think we all have that one person in our life, or two or three people that who's contributed towards our career, our lives, for sure.
Did he become effectively a father?
He was, yeah, as I said, early on in my career, not early on in my career, but early on in my life, I lost my father due to the civil war happening between the south and the north of Somalia, and my mum couldn't support us, mentally as well as physically, because she was going through a lot of emotion, as you do when we lost anyone, my dad, and didn't have a father figure, and for me, he took that role in school. He recognised me, he seen me as a child, and really invested in me in my time and taking me to places. Even we used to compete as a young boy with the McDonald's leagues, where we could eat in a club in different places. Even there at that time, he was taking me to places.
I thought you were going to say that you hadn't been a great runner, you'd have been centre forward for Arsenal, but
yeah, right, more like the other side.
Next.
Kilometer out of the line. So how do you break down the 12.5 laps and 25 laps? Would you say it's the hardest track race because the two people have done it in really got the 36 years after last year?
Yeah, this is an amazing career on the track. I have some great memories all the way through. And if I look back and say what was the hardest race for me, was London 2017 was very, very difficult for me. Just be able to come win the 10,000 and then come back for the 5,000 meters. Perhaps as I said, with age comes with not as much recovery, and I felt like at that point my body was just taking a little bit of time to recover from rounds or from races, and at that point it was hard to move on because I would have loved to win another 2 gold medals.
You mustn't get greedy.
No, but
do you know what? So in London 2017, you'd done the double in Rio the year before, and you won the 10,000, and then you got beaten in the 5,000 by Idris of Ethiopia. But 12 days later, you beat him in the Diamond League final in Zurich. And I think that was your toughest race, that 5,000 in Zurich, because you were so determined to beat him. And it was almost tangible, the battle of wills down the last 50 metres.
So they're throwing us up, and then he said, that was amazing. And I guess maybe it's that mindset I have where I knew it was going to be my last track race at that point because I made up my mind going to the marathon. And I remember, after World Championship, that 10 days, I rested. I didn't do as much training. I tried to recover because for me it was like, I knew I was tired, so I just let it rest. But in that race, I just gave it everything. And I just didn't want my last race to come down to, losing to Idris again, so to the line.
Yes.
Hi. After the London Olympics, everything that you achieved there, Super Sunday, the gold medals, everything. Do you feel that you have changed as a person and as an athlete after everything that had achieved?
It did change me, but it comes with, as I said, before London 2012, nobody's heard of me. You arrive in the village and win 2 gold medals, and I couldn't even go outside. They were paparazzi, my wife was heavily pregnant, so my life did change in a different way. But again, it became a little bit more harder, but everybody was, loving me, supporting me. I was getting gifts, and it was just an incredible moment to be in that year in 2012. And at that point, as an athlete, you always have to think, okay, great, this is part of it, but what do I need to do to maintain this? And when it comes to 2013, the World Championships, was already thinking ahead.
What's kept you grounded, Mo? You're saying that there came a point where you couldn't step outside the house and walk the streets. You couldn't now in London. You get mobbed. What kept you grounded? Was it changing nappies or?
I did have to change a few nappies because my wife gave birth to twin girls. But what keeps me grounded is having my story. You know, always life wasn't as this fancy things or well known. I struggle. We struggle as a family. You know, and having a story like myself just made me appreciate every bit of it and keep on smiling and keep going and don't take things for granted.
Yes.
Just one more, sorry. And after London, did you feel there was a target on your back? Because you were the Olympic champion, now everybody's after you. How do you, adjust to that mentally after the disappointment from Beijing, coming into here? How do you change everything going into Rio?
Yeah, after London, I honestly felt like I had a target on like each race because I was there. The athletes wanted to beat Mo Farah, and that's me. And every race you go into it, you've got someone who wants to beat you. But when you keep maintaining and just you train every day is your last day, don't take things for granted. That then keeps you above others in that sense. Because in a way, when you know tactically, well, I know what Tim's going to say. You know how it's going to be. You know how it's going to sit. You understand more. You can go in. But to maintain that, it's definitely a lot harder. As an athlete, if I were to choose to say, do you rather go in as a new guy or someone who's got all these titles and everybody's wearing a tactic? I'd rather go with a new guy because new guy, you don't know what he's going to do. And often for me, even when I race athletes, the ones that I fear the most is not the ones who achieve all these titles. It's the new guys. Because the new guys have no respect for you. They're like, we know what he's going to do. I'm going for him. And they're almost like going for it. And I think sometimes in life, we all complicate it. We should just go in and go for it.
Yes.
More, and you? Hello. Hello. You moved from Somalia to England in a situation where you had no choice. The situation was beyond your control. There are very frequent instances of athletes taking conscious decision to leave their country and represent another country for money, for fame, and run from Olympics to Olympics and then come back once their career is over. Do you think that helps the sport? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, honestly, listen, we love our sports. We want athletes to always be fair and give it the best and do that. But we know certain times, athletes want a better choice in terms of, where they can earn more or do things that they can't. Perhaps they wouldn't have the chance in their own country or don't have the support of the system. But at the same time, I think for me, it's like, if it wasn't for the UK who gave the opportunity, I would never achieve all these things and I would never won medals for my country. So in a way, I would say it all depends on the sort of situation. And I think in everything we do, it's not always what you see, it's just that hard. There are many athletes, and I think even in Kenya and Ethiopia, to make the Kenyan team, is so much more harder, right? We've got 10 as well as athletes.
I guess what makes it tougher is that the high profile of people who are great sporting stars, and if they change nation and run for a different nation, they can get criticised. And yet, there's hundreds of millions of people moving around the world all year, changing countries for jobs, taking up American nationality when they're from Asia or vice versa. They don't get criticised. So athletes are just professionals doing a great job. So it's a very, very difficult area, a difficult question. But this is 2025. Everybody's everywhere. Okay, I think we'll call it a day there. Thank you. Okay, final question. Yes, this is the final question because there are more afterwards, which some of you I know are involved in.
You sort of had a mentality of any day that you're not training is a medal lost, and then you also had to make plenty of sacrifices when you were at the top of your career. So how, as an individual, could you just touch upon the struggles individually that you have to face being away from your family, from your kids, at the same time finding or striking the right balance between the amount of training that you have to put in as well as the amount of rest that you have to take to give your body the time to recuperate as well?
Yeah, that's a set in, for us as athletes, you just have to work hard, give it your best, and at times, you know, I didn't have a choice. To me, to be the best athlete, this is what I have to do. I have to be away for 6 months a year in training camp and away from my kids if I want to be as good as these guys. That's what we had to do. And now I look back and go, do I have any regrets? Do I have things? No, because again, it's all for my kids and for everyone. I did, and even with my gold medals, even though I have the medals, I engraved my kids' names on it because I believe, you know, that gave me a purpose of training, gave me a purpose of being away, gave me reasons of, you know what, this is for my kids, this is for my family, that's their moment.
Mo, we'll call it a day there. Thank you very much indeed. It has been great fun. Mo, I hope we can catch up later on for an orange juice
Will do.
back at the hotel once you've finished. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for Sir Mo Farah.
Okay. The interviews we are getting.
Oh my God.